two rules that'll keep you alive on the streets. And both of them are, me first. You make friends if they got good H, or if they know a good connection. You can always rob them when things get slow. You see, junkies don't press charges.
I did uppers all day, and then Valium at night to calm me down. Then I won another election. The uppers went up even more, and Valium wasn't downer enough. I started doing barbiturates. Life turned into an elevator that was going 1,000 miles per hour, both ways at once, and always a heartbeat from crashing.
It's like my mind had split in two. I was hallucinating, but I was still trying to take care of Ben. I could see both sides at once. Give me your hand, Ben.
No, what's the matter with you, Jenny?
I was frightening myself, but I had to protect him. We'll be okay.
Stay away. You're scared.
But of course, you don't want to run into them again in the dark. Almost everyone who uses smack starts stealing when the need gets big enough. But it's a very dangerous game, very, unstable customers. Mugging was my system. You see, I don't have any money. So if you have any money, I'd like you to give it to me. See, you don't have to help me, but, I'm a rather heavy drug user.
Basically, what we try to tell the kids is if we can help one person, we've done our job. And over the 8 years we've done this program, we've helped a great many people. So we feel we've succeeded in our job, and that is to help the community in any way we can. Even in a small way, we've helped the community.
This process started about 8 years ago. We were trying to find another way to reach students, and we really felt that students learn better by their peers. And it was a creative way, a different way of sort of reaching students, thinking out of the box a little bit actually. And we pick different topics every year depending upon what's going on in the community or what we feel is of need.
Bobby DiPerzio, the director of the show, came to me with the social worker and said they had an idea and it was a little risky, and would I back them on the idea. My former background was a school psychologist, so I thought there was a lot of value to it, and we got support from central office, and we kind of launched it. We modified some of the language and some of it to make it more age appropriate, but the message wasn't lost, and I think that was the most important thing. To keep giving the message out year after year.
Well, I personally think that no matter how much trouble you're having, using drugs is just going to put you lower and lower down, and that you really cannot gain anything from doing drugs. You only have things to lose, nothing to gain. So that's really what I learned from this whole show, not even just my character.
Mr. DiPerzio is involved with the theater arts program here at Gelinas through the years, and these are our 8th grade. He identifies them at the end of the 8th grade. For the 9th grade performance. They're strictly 9th grade performers.
There's an audition process. We had about 50 9th graders audition for the show. They were very interested in being a part of this because it has a reputation about it. So they wanted to be a part of this. It's a little bit more than an acting experience, it's more of an educational experience.
So I met steroids. At first, I thought it was nothing. I didn't feel any different. But that night, I was still pumping hard when they got ready to close the place. In a few days, I was lifting the lights out of that gym. I was a steroids addict in the show, and the reason my character did steroids was because his dad was always pushing him to do sports, and he was really bad at all the sports he tried, and he really was trying, and nothing seemed to work. And then he went to the gym and tried lifting weights, and that didn't work, and someone offered him steroids, and he took it, and he ended up dying from lifting what he thought he could on the pills, but his body really couldn't take. It was like kind of like an illusion that the drugs gave off, and his bones shattered, the bar smashed on his neck, and he died.
It sends like the message across that's like needed for this grade and stuff. Don't do drugs pretty much, and like it shows like everything about like why we shouldn't do drugs and like stuff that 9th graders are put forth with like every single day. Like drinking and stuff, like there's like drinking everywhere in 9th grade, and like it's time to make the decision if we're gonna do it or not, and this play is just like make sure you don't do it, because like it shows what's gonna happen.
They should really get out basically everything about the harms of drugs, what they can do to you, what they can do to your social life, and they can do to your physical life and how not to give in to peer pressure or pressure from anybody.
I think because you start to own some issues, which is nice. It's not just reading about it in the paper and saying, oh, that poor kid in a different town. It could be my town, it could be my kids. So that's the power, I think, of it. They kind of own issues and talk about it within our own little homeschool, which is nice.
And it hit. I rolled my head back and forth on the couch, loving that rush. And then I caught enough reality to smell something burning. I spun my head around to look at the door, and I saw my hair go past my face, and it was in flames.
It's really not worth doing drugs because if you end up like my character ended up, you end up with a burned face for the rest of your life. And even if you're still alive, there's no way to go back out in public. Nobody's going to believe that you're you because you're going to have to get all sort of plastic surgery and stuff.
The uppers wore off about 10 o'clock. I got scared. I nearly popped some downers, but I knew I couldn't. Then by 12 o'clock, my stomach was heaving and I got sick nearly 4 or 5 times. Then I got the shakes. I thought I might feel better if I got out of bed and got dressed, so I dragged myself out of bed. But as I tried to walk, the shakes turned into convulsions. I gashed my face open on my dresser as I fell. Then, after a while, the convulsions slowed down, and I tried to reach my phone to call Mom or the emergency room or somebody, but my muscles wouldn't respond. I remembered crisis lines, posters at school, people saying they wanted to help, saying it was dangerous trying to quit alone, but I couldn't move enough to reach my phone.
My character is kind of an overworked student who turns to drugs to deal with her life. And just for people to know that people automatically assume it's the quiet kid in the back of the classroom who's the one doing drugs, but sometimes it's the A++ student who is always at the top of their grade. But, you know, stress takes its toll, and sometimes people think they need help that way, and they should really seek help in other ways.
My advice to people that are experiencing drugs would be to obviously contact the authorities if, not the authorities, but the lines that can help them so they can help themselves, and that there's always help and you don't really have to suffer alone, which is the message given by ADDICT.
The most important part of it is in the program, the numbers, the hotline, the crisis numbers. If people are sitting 4 weeks from now, a month from now, 3 years from now, 15 years from now, and they go, wait a minute, I saw this show and it was talking about crisis lines, people can use these. And that, in my opinion, is one of the most important parts of our program, is that there are places to go after today. It's not just about today. It's about what you can do when you need the help. Because it may not be today, but you may need it. And you may know somebody that may need it.
I really hope that kids were reached out by us. I really hope that we reached them and that we got to them and our point across, because I think it's really important that they know what can happen to them if they do something as pointless and stupid as drugs.